Welcome to the Drunk Dietitians podcast, co-hosted by your favorite tipsy registered dietitians, yours truly, Sammy Previtt, co-owner of Dietitians of Palm Valley, and Jenna Warner, owner of Happy, Strong, Healthy. Us dietitian besties can't stand diet culture bullshit and love keeping it real. Our mission is for all humans to believe that they are made for so much more than chasing a smaller body. We are also here to share with you that food can be fun and pleasurable again. Although we're medical professionals, we are human too. We are not afraid to share our deepest secrets and how years of our lives were taken by diet culture. We started this podcast so no human has to feel alone in their journey towards food freedom. So grab your favorite cocktail and join us for our favorite casual happy hour and expect to laugh, cry, learn, and grow. Cheers. All right, guys. So today on this episode of Drunk Dietitian,
you have your yoga voice on.
I have my yoga voice on. And for those of you who can't see me, I don't even know what you call this. I was going to say namasteing my hands. I don't think that's the right term.
I think our guest would be very angry with how we are introducing this right now.
Yes. This is not any descriptor of our guest, Ashley Hanna, the owner of Titanium Yoga, which is here in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida, but they do virtual classes as well. She is a dear friend of mine, but an amazing entrepreneur. She was in the fashion industry. She lived in New York, Chicago, London, which she didn't even talk about today. We didn't even get to that really. But Jenna had no idea her story before coming on today's episode. Obviously, you're not going to give it away, Jenna, but what was your first reaction when you heard her story?
So she closed by saying that if she inspires one person, then it's all worth it. And I think that every single one of you that listens to this podcast will walk away with something different that you were inspired by in this episode. And that I think should give you enough reason to keep listening right now. But the reality is that I've never heard a story of such overcoming of every obstacle that was placed at her, or given to her, to be honest with you, the way that she's handled it and herself, and what she's created despite all of it is fantastic. I can't wait to come visit you and go see her. So we should do a virtual class together soon.
Yeah.
Because that was, wow. Everybody just keep listening. We don't want to waste any more of your time because this one is one you'll walk away with something super special from.
Yes. And we do record these virtually, where we see each other. So I was specifically watching Jenna's face when Ashley got to the cliffhanger, which I'm not going to say, but it was very funny to watch Jenna's response during the story. So
it was quite quiet, guys.
Yeah.
There was my jaw was on the floor.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Amazing.
Yes. So if you are interested in hearing Ashley's story or where titanium came from in Titanium Yoga, then keep listening and enjoy. Welcome back to another episode of Drunk Dietitians. Today we have a great friend of mine, another local business owner in Jacksonville, Florida. We have Ashley Hanna. She is a certified yoga instructor as well as the owner of Titanium Yoga. So Ashley, thank you so much for joining us.
I feel like we should say namaste.
Yeah, namaste. I'm just going to say random, I don't know anything about yoga, but I'm just going to randomly yell chaturanga or these terms out.
You should.
It'll be great. But I'm so excited to have you here for so many different reasons. And me as a nobody in yoga, I'm literally horrible. And then we have, of course, Ashley's super advanced and Jenna, you're intermediate to advanced from what I know. So this will be just a fun conversation about all things yoga. But before we jump in, Jenna, I'm going to let you take it away with our rapid fire.
Can we see should we make this a drinking game? How many yoga words we can say and then people have to drink when we say,
every single time. Yeah.
I love it. I'm just going to yell words.
Okay. Ashley, the first thing that comes to your mind, ready? Vodka or tequila?
Vodka.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Wine or beer?
Wine.
Runny yolk or hard boiled?
I don't eat eggs.
Oh, are you vegetarian?
No.
You just don't like eggs. Okay, I totally get it.
I don't like the texture of eggs. And a year ago, I got bet $100 to eat an egg, like a hard-boiled egg. And I like put it in. I was gonna do it, and it came right back out at a restaurant. It was mortifying.
So then how about, I feel like I know the answer to this one based on our pre-recording convo, but sweet or salty?
Ooh, salty.
Okay. Crunchy or smooth peanut butter?
Crunchy, which I have heard you guys debate this and other ones.
Sammy's losing.
Like, it mortifies Sam, crunchy peanut butter.
Like, I like losing bad.
I like peanut butter with other things like granola or apple. Like I like it with texture, but just not in the peanut butter.
I don't get it.
Crunchy peanut butter with the apple, like, oh.
Ashley, I am with you. Okay, last one. If you could have one thing in limitless quantities, but it can't be money, what would it be? Namaste.
I'm not supposed to say this, but Coca-Cola.
She loves soda for anybody listening.
It's like right here.
With your cheese puffs.
It's empty. It's terrible. Like, you know what? I look at it this way. Like, if that's the worst thing I do in life, like drink a can of Coke a day, like I think I'm gonna be okay.
We couldn't agree more. We don't really care when it comes to
I had basically a bottle of champagne to myself this weekend, so I have no room to say anything about your soda.
Exactly. This is not about judgment of beverages or food. I actually want to add one on to this though, because I have a Frenchie and Jenna has a golden doodle and Ashley happens to have a Frenchie and a golden doodle. So Frenchies are golden doodles.
You can't do it.
I can.
No, you can't, because they're my two children and I love them like nothing else in this world. And like sometimes I love more than the other one, but I love them for different things. And like I just can't pick. They both have beautiful qualities about themselves.
I would never call a Frenchie beautiful, but I understand what you mean.
That snoring at 3 a.m. You don't sleep with your Frenchie.
I can't. I know.
But I love it. I'm like, he's alive.
Oh, I can't. Anyways.
You can see him.
Yeah.
A Labradoodle mixed with a Bernedoodle. My uncle's dog had puppies, and so I like to call him an organic breed because he's one of a kind. But
wait, I actually thought he was a golden doodle, Jen. I'm sorry.
That's okay. They all blend together.
Yeah, he kind of looks like one though, with all his little fuzz.
He has a perm right now from the rain and the lack of being able to be groomed at the moment.
Oh my gosh.
But anyways, I'm super excited to hear your story that Sam has alluded to before jumping onto this call. And I'm just really excited. Like, your background's so beautiful. I feel like it's got such a cool story behind this name. Your smile's so amazing. I want to hear everything.
Yeah. So Ashley,
just like jump in.
Yeah. Well, I would say start with, how titanium yoga came to be and the story that's hanging on the wall would be great to learn about.
Sold. So I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. I was like, middle-class kid growing up. And my mom had always owned her own company, but actually when I went into high school, I think high school or college, one or the other, she went to go work for like, normal big company and, put that dream aside. And so I always had this like passion. Like, I think passion's like a weird word, but more so I always had this, people wake up when they're like X age and they're like, I want to have a baby. I have this like burning desire to have a baby or to get married, etc. Like, I never had those burning desires. I had a burning desire to open a business. So I went to the University of Arizona in Tucson, Arizona. And when I graduated, I had a business and then I had a retail degree. So I had two different ones. And I moved straight away, like 3 days later, I packed up, I moved to New York to go be a buyer for Burberry out in New York. And it was an amazingly insane experience. But it was, you know, this giant company. And I was like, this just isn't for me. Like, this is so cool. And it's, you know, that was when like Devil Wears Prada was like the coolest movie ever. Like, it was that every day. And I just had this like desire to like change the world, which I think is like mildly comical. But I ended up going to work for from Burberry. I went to go work for a company called Trunk Club, and it was in its infancy. And we were paid like $0 to go to work. And fast forward 4 years later, the company sold to Nordstrom for $350 million. Like, and that was like my first like glimpse of like, you work really hard. Like you had access to these insanely, you know, entrepreneurial, smart humans that were like sitting at the desk next to you. There wasn't like, you know, there's a divide. And so at Trunk Club is where I got like that vision came back to me of like, I'm going to start a company one day, but I had no idea what. And just based on my background, I really thought it was going to be in fashion. So I worked for Burberry. From there, after they sold, like when we sold to Nordstrom, they give you that like employment package of like, welcome, here's your benefits, like sign on the dotted line. And I was like, I'm out. Like I couldn't have like rules. Like I don't do rules well. I don't follow the yellow brick road. I'm like, let's turn it purple and go over here. And so I went to go work for this other startup because I had moved from Chicago to Dallas for Trunk Club. So I opened their first expansion office, which allowed them to sell because they had to grow. So I moved to Dallas after they made me sign the pretty paper. I was like, not doing this. And I went to go work for another startup, which was a men's shirting company based out of Dallas. And so I was working there and I oversaw all of their like wholesale and retail, all that kind of stuff. So I also, the funnest part of that job, and I had always been really good at it, was I was really good at like making connections with people, and they just happened to be like really cool, like professional athletes. Like I was like, holy moly, like why do I have your phone number in my phone? So for that job, I was living in Dallas, but I had to come to Florida to go to spring training to sign a bunch of these guys to be spokespeople for the brand. So I landed in Fort Lauderdale and I had to meet with, I don't even know what team. And then and you meet with these teams at the butt crack of dawn. And then I leave that and I'm driving to Tampa, which I've still never been to Tampa. And I live in Florida, but I'm driving to Tampa and I was struck by a semi truck head on at like 70 miles an hour. I remember nothing. So there's no need for like, oh my gosh, like couldn't tell you what happened. All I know is I woke up in a helicopter and I was like, this is amazing. I've never been in one before. So I was actually life flighted. Like I really think that everything in this world happens for a reason. And I was life flighted to Lakeland Regional Hospital, which is like really close to Tampa. And they have the world's best trauma center, which is just crazy. And I broke half of my body. So I have a titanium rod from shoulder to elbow, my left hand, and then from right hip to right knee. So that's where titanium yoga came from. And then, so I had multiple surgeries. I was wheeled out of the hospital, and that's when they tell you, you're never gonna walk again, which like, I like laughed. And then my doctor was like, you're going to need therapy, which I do.
Which kind?
I've got a lot of those.
We're up here.
But so what ended up happening is I have to fly back to Dallas because that's where I live. And I am all sorts of messed up. So I fly back to Dallas. I then wanted to essentially get checked into assisted living because like I couldn't do anything. Zero, like because I couldn't reach, I couldn't take a shower, I couldn't do any human activities. So I was actually like not bad enough to go into assisted living. I just had to do it all on my own. So thank God for like my sister who lived in Dallas and like friends that lived in Dallas. Like that was amazing. Like I feel so bad for them, the things that they had to do. But anyways, I have an immense amount of time on my hands. And I was like, maybe I'll go to grad school while I'm sitting in my wheelchair. Like maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that. And it always kept coming back into my head, like, you want to start a business, like this is the time to go do it. So I had physical therapy 5 hours a day, no, 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. And like nothing was working. You know, I was in an immense amount of pain. I took 1,200 milligrams of opioids in a day. That's 100 milligrams an hour for the waking hours. Like I was messed up. My family struggles with addiction. My dad is an alcoholic. My 4 uncles are alcoholics, and I have a cousin who is a full-blown like drug addict. So being on these drugs like scared the living daylights out of me. So I ended up at month 6 going back to my original surgeon in Florida. And I said, I'm just not making progress. I want to walk. Like, I know I can do it. I can feel my foot. Like, I'm okay. And he was like, well, then just get up and walk, Ashley. And I was like, what? You can do that? Said, yeah, get up. Let's go. And so him and my husband were like holding me up and etc. And I couldn't walk that day, but it's like I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. So I sit back down in my wheelchair after like it's a lot of work to get up. And he was like, you need to go try yoga. I've heard amazing stories about the healing powers of yoga through the medical community. I really think you should go do it. And I was like, okay. So I get back to Dallas, and the wonderful, like my surgeon is like my bestie. Like we message on Instagram. He's so cool. And he got me a membership to a big box yoga studio, and it was on the 2nd floor with an elevator. But like, come on, people, how do you put a yoga studio on the 2nd floor? So I go in to my first class in my wheelchair, and they felt so bad. They're like, you don't have to pay, like it's cool. And I was like, I just want to sit in your room. Like, I'm not going to do anything. So I sat in that room for like the hour class, and when I left after 60 minutes with like the heat and just like kind of marinating in your own body, I left and I had no pain. And that was the last day I took an opioid, which was amazing. And that was like my light bulb moment as I'm like wheeling myself to my Uber. I was like, I'm going to figure out how to do this, because there's a lot of yoga studios in this world, but no one is promoting the, you know, the pain relief, the stop an addiction, the, you know, the differences of like, you know, yeah, you're supposed to have a cortisone shot or a hip replacement. Let's try this first. And that was my light bulb moment. But I went to yoga 3 times a day, every day, because I was addicted. And I went from a wheelchair to a walker to a cane in 6 weeks, which was amazing. And it took 6 months to get me there. So that was how it all started.
So first of all, I'm like, I wanted to say something for the past however many minutes. Like, this is amazing.
I'm so happy Jenna had no idea about the story before this episode.
Holy crap. First of all, you're amazing. I mean, I'm blown away. How long ago was this?
So this was March 3rd, 2016. So it was 4 years ago in March.
Wow. And you are walking, doing it all.
I've always been a super athletic person. Like I played soccer, I played tennis. Like still to this day, I play tennis. But like I am in better shape and I can touch my toes. I couldn't touch my toes before my accident. So it's really like helped me, and my like brain doesn't stop. So it's helped me in those ways too. It's crazy.
It's amazing. I mean, this could be the story that transforms me into a yogi. You heard it here first.
Your husband's already one. He hasn't transformed you.
No, it's been a weird transition here at home because I've seen it really transform him in really beautiful ways, in just very different ways. And his passion for it has been like a beautiful for me to watch. But for me, and maybe you can speak to this, I never get excited about doing yoga. I know it's good for me. I know I should do it. I know I feel good when I leave, but I can't get myself excited to do it. Does that make sense?
No, I completely get it. And that's where I think it's funny, you know, when you guys were talking at the beginning, like, you know, I'm a beginner, I'm not very good. I'm, you know, more intermediate to advanced. Like, that's where I think, like, it's the most beautiful tagline, I think, but I'm weird. Like, yoga is a practice. Like, you can't be good at it and go to the Olympics. Like, it is a practice that you practice every single day. And I think that's the beauty, especially when we have classes going on, is like, you have the oldest person we've ever had in was 93. He was visiting from California. So you have this 93-year-old person, and he was amazing. And you have a 6-year-old next to him who is struggling. And then you have, you know, the 22-year-old blonde girl next to it. But it's like this, it's all of them together. And I think that's the most beautiful thing. And that's what, when people are like, I want to do a headstand, I want to do a handstand, I want to do these crazy things. Well, like, stop, because it's a practice and it will literally come to you at some point. At some point, your feet will float up and you do no effort.
It's so amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thanks.
I don't even know what to say. It's so, like, I'm blown away by you.
Yeah. Her story, it truly is amazing. And I think it just shows, like, use me as an example. I'm the first one to always be like, I suck at this, I can't do it. Like, using it as an excuse kind of thing. But like, you went into a yoga class with a disability, like, without being able to walk, and now it's like your everyday practice. And that doesn't mean that everybody listening to this needs to, like, start and then, like, do yoga every day. But like, the true takeaway is that it's for everybody. It can it's very inclusive. It's not about, like, being the best. It's a very intuitive movement that feels good for your body.
And I get so excited when my phone rings and someone's like, I can't touch my toes. I'm like, great. Like, you're not supposed to, you know, you're not supposed to touch your toes. Like, I'm going to get you there though. But it's going to take time. You know, America loves, like, see problem, solve problem. It's not a quick process. Like, you have to put in effort to get to a solution, and it's not going to happen tomorrow. But at the same time, like, that hip replacement is supposed to happen tomorrow. Like, I can take that date and push it out. That's the difference, I think, is time. Like, you have to put in time. It's not, no matter what it is, it takes time.
I love that so much, because I do believe that if there is a fitness or a movement practice that's meant to go seamlessly in with mindful and intuitive eating, nutrition-based practices, it is yoga, because they're both, right? Because it's both a practice of understanding your body. I think that yoga and eating, when you think about, like, what one class and what one meal can do for you, when you put that spin on it, it's like, it can bring you closer to feeling certain ways, versus a lot of people like to look at it with the frame of, like, well, one meal or one session isn't going to do anything. But, like, I think
I'm just not going to do it.
Right. So I think yoga and the nutrition that we talk about here is, like, they're seamlessly kind of placed together in that. Would you say that the type of practice that you do at your studio, what kind is it? And what really is, like, when you walk into one of your classes, what do you hope someone walks away with?
Yeah, so we are a vinyasa flow yoga studio. So we link one breath to one movement. It is not a power practice. It's not like up, down, all around. But it's really connecting your breath to your movement, which that's what I love about our studio and our practices. You know, like I said before, like, we have, I always say our average age is about 48. I think it's a little bit older than that. And that's what I love about our practices. When you walk into our studio, like, A, it doesn't look like a yoga studio, and B, it doesn't look like there's yogis here. And that's what really turned me off about yoga at first, is I was practicing next to all these people that looked like me, but I had so many limitations. And I wanted to take that all away. And so when you go into our studio, like, it's very dark. Like, half the time I'm like, turn the lights up, but, like, they don't go up anymore. And so that's the beauty of it. Like, I don't care what kind of yoga pants you're wearing. I don't care if you can like do that posture. I just like, I want you to be in that room because we have infrared heat. And that's what I want people to get out of it. Like, I want them to get the healing powers of the infrared heat mixed with yoga, mixed with our flooring system. Like, we have this really squishy floor, so it doesn't hurt your knees or your hips or your shoulders, which are all things that like I had to think about, like, because I still can't practice on hardwood floors or cement because like it hurts. And so if it hurts me, boy, like a 60-year-old, she's going to want to, you know, be like, I'm out. So, you know, that's what I hope people get out of it is like, just don't give up. This is a practice. Stick with it and you will see the results. And, you know, I'm not preaching like, hey, you're going to lose 20 pounds. I'm preaching like weight loss isn't my thing. If you want weight loss, there's plenty of other places that do that. My thing is connecting your mind with your body and your spirit. And like, I'd rather sleep better than lose weight. And that's, we're in the midst of COVID right now. And we've developed a new class. It's called Oxygen, which is our restorative class, and Yoga Sleep. And it's at 8:30 at night Eastern time. So our hopes is like you take this class and you crawl right into bed because people can't sleep right now. And those are the types of things that we do.
I love it. I love it so much.
Too.
Are you proud of me, Ashley? I've been taking classes.
I'm so proud.
I saw her setup. I was like, ooh, what's happening?
Puppy dog.
And like, yeah, Big's doing yoga. I've done more yoga since COVID-19 than I've ever done in my life, which has been like 3 classes total, but that's a lot for me.
Yeah.
But no, and I took the one class with Liana and she was telling me about this class at night, and we really want to try it because that's one thing that I have definitely seen, like the struggle with like anxiety and sleep with all of this. So, and I love that your guys, Jenna had already kind of said that, and then you took it right home where this lines up so much with connecting your mind and your body. And that's what, like with intuitive eating, that is our whole message, is like looking at our behaviors, but then also just like becoming curious of your body and your behaviors and why it acts the way it does and why it is the way it is, instead of having this judgmental, shameful view. So it lines up completely with everything we're saying. And it's such a treat to hear another, I'm going to call you a fitness professional because you are, but I guess like, I don't know if like yoga, if that, you know, yoga professional, fitness professional, but to hear someone that's saying like, connect your mind and your body and your spirit versus like come into our class and go up and down and up and down and up and down and burn as many calories as you want. Like, no, like your message is so powerful. And
well, so listen, like I love to move as like I will self-diagnose myself with ADD, but like I love to move. Like I have to, even to this day where, you know, we're in these really weird days right now. Like, I'm sure you're the same, Sam. Like I am scheduled out because that's what I need. That's what I need to make it feel like a Monday versus a Saturday. And like, I think that's like such an important thing, is like being mindful of, you know, what you're eating, what you're doing, all of these things, because right now, like, yeah, you could just sit and watch Netflix until there's no more Netflix to watch, but you're also going to like pay those consequences if you understand what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, a good balance of movement that feels good. And of course, rest is important, but finding that good balance between it all, I think is so, so important.
I hear my husband say a lot because he's live stream teaching at home, and I wake up sometimes to the Om after the morning class that I've slept through. I hear him saying sometimes that like when he sees people now on Zoom, but I've been in his classes as well, like when people fall out of it and like laugh at themselves, like he always says, his line is that that's like the most advanced practice you can have. It's like when you don't take what you're doing so seriously and can like get back into like the moment of like doing the work. And I think that message, connecting with what you were just saying, is just so powerful. It's like, this is a practice of understanding that failure is success and like that trying is a practice. And like, if you keep doing something and keep enjoying the process, like it does get better. And again, like this is what we talk about with like eating and feeling your feelings after and during eating and what those foods make you feel like, and kind of bringing that all home. And maybe you ate something that didn't make you feel good, and instead of being mad, like you laugh about it, figure it out, and then fix it next time, whatever that means. There's so many similarities. It's such a great like marriage of two.
Yeah.
Basics.
And I think like something that I like, you know, I don't believe in failure. I mean, it's kind of a weird thing to say, but like I really don't believe in failure. I think every single time that you fail, you're just setting yourself up to do it better and to learn more the next time. So I like love, and listen, like I failed at a lot of things in my life, but I've learned from every single one of those failures how to fix it and how to make it better. And it's like, and granted, I'm 34. You know, I could never say that at the age of 22. People would think I was crazy. But like, I think as you fail, like you have to figure out how you're gonna, you know, create that narrative and spin it off into something that you're gonna learn and you're gonna better yourself or others from.
Yeah, it's so well said. So I know, Ashley, you have another meeting you need to run to soon, but we finish every episode with a nutrition tipsy, we like to call it, or this one's going to be a yoga tipsy.
Aww.
So let us know, think about people listening to this. Maybe they've never tried yoga. Maybe they've done a ton of yoga. What would be like your number one tip related to yoga and practicing yoga that you would give someone, regardless of their experience?
Hard. I listened to these. I should have like, I listened to the last one with Danielle and I was like, I had the perfect thing and I didn't write it down and it went right out of my head. I think so is relating to yoga, if they're a new yogi, I tell this to my mom, like I love my mother dearly. And she wants to do yoga so bad in Arizona to support like her daughter, but she never goes. And I always tell her, I'm like, don't go buy the package online because they're just going to steal your money. Like, go in and go look if you have an interest in being there, or call and talk to them. Because I think that's a lot of it is you have to be comfortable where you are. And hey, that might be, you know, only online through, you know, online companies, but you have to figure out what's best for you. You know, no one goes to, well, nowadays you can do that. I was going to say no one just buys a car off the internet and they get it shipped to them. Darn it, you can do that nowadays. So bad example. But for people like me, like I want to go like sit in it and smell it and, you know what it's all about before buying it. So that's my thing is like, I think you need to know if you're comfortable in that environment first, because there's a whole lot of yoga out there and there's a whole lot of yoga for everyone. For instance, I was out in Berkeley, California, and I did my first Bikram class ever, which I think is kind of funny that it was like the first one I had ever done. And I was like, not so much for Ashley Hanna. Like, this is a little different. But everyone has their thing and you have to see what speaks to you. And I think that's, I've always been very uncomfortable talking about my story. When people say, oh my gosh, you're such an inspiration, I kind of like hide and I say thank you and that's it. But I've gotten more comfortable with it because for me, if I get one phone call or one email or one Instagram message that you inspired me or you helped me or I'm living with less pain, like that's why I'm here. That's why this whole thing started, and I can close up shop and I can feel amazing about what we've done. But that's what I'm striving for every day, is to make people feel more comfortable in their own skin. And so no matter if you're a brand new yogi or, you know, you've been practicing for 20 or 30 years, you have to find your tribe and where you're comfortable. And that's it.
That's so beautiful. Can I add something super quick to that to ask you, like as a tipsy part two? Because I think I mean, first of all, you've inspired me, so I hope you know that. But if
Thanks.
there's someone listening that has been through a trauma and is not as confident as you are in their recovery, is there anything that, you know, helped you like through your process of recovery and, you know, helping someone just understand that there's hope?
Yeah, and I deal with a lot of, I get a lot of people that reach out via Instagram. They're like, I know this person. And I'm always that weirdo that like I show up at their doorstep with like a smoothie and I'm like, let's talk about it. Get away. But, you know, like I've always been an annoying person of like, I'm going to find the solution. And so when I was, my advice to people is to exhaust every outlet when you're in pain, whether that be, for me, that was all natural remedies. So I did cupping, acupuncture, chiropractic care. I did some other weird things too. Like I can't remember them off the top of my head, but you know, as well as physical therapy, I did this thing called gua sha, which like is the coolest thing ever to this day. It's where they like literally rub a butter knife on your muscles. It feels horrible at first, but then it feels amazing. But like yoga, you know, Pilates, whatever, running, like tennis, whatever it is, like take what you can and take what you want out of everything. And so like figure out what works for you. If physical therapy doesn't work for you, go find yoga. If yoga doesn't work for you, go find physical therapy. If cupping works for you, like great, but like exhaust the outlets and try different things. Don't always rely on the pill that's going to cure it for an hour, but then in 2 hours it's going to be back.
Yeah, that's a great point. I see a lot of people, as I know you mentioned earlier, like cortisol shots and stuff like that. And of course, like they treat a symptom, but not an underlying problem. And I think that's what diets do. Like there's so many parallels. Like they treat the symptom or the quick fix, and then it's not the underlying problem, the relationship with food and body and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, it's just the volcano is going to explode at some point. You're just putting you're putting a little water on it for right now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you, Ashley, so much for being here. For anybody
ladies.
Of course, for anybody listening, and they might want to find you or find more information on the studio, especially with virtual classes. If they're not in Florida, or maybe they are in Ponte Vedra and want to come in, where can they best find you at?
Yeah, so you can find us on our website. It's titaniumyoga.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, which is @titaniumyoga, or we have a Facebook group that has like free flows, etc., and that is Titanium Yoga Unfiltered. Awesome.
Well, thank you so much, Ashley. And you've inspired us. I'm going to go sign up for a yoga class right now.
That was amazing. Thank you so much for your time and your energy and all of your just amazing positivity.
Oh, thank you, guys.
Guys, thank you so much for listening and being here with us. I am virtually cheersing all of you. We absolutely loved sipping on a cocktail with you and sharing as many nutrition tipsies as possible during this episode. We know there are a ton of pods out there, and we are so appreciative of your time that you spent listening to us today. Please be sure to check out the show notes for episode details and all of our guest information. We promise to keep bringing you the best and the most knowledgeable and fun guests we possibly can. Please be sure to subscribe, like, share, and post if you enjoyed our content today. And visit us on Instagram and Facebook at Drunk Dietitians to find out what is up next for us on the pod. We absolutely love you. We appreciate you and can't wait to spend more time cheersing with you soon.